dishonoring your family because you want to pursue a life that you know will be 10 times more beneficial and 10 times more than you could even imagine. And I think this is something that every man questions for himself at some point in time, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm speaking about. So, gentlemen, there was a time in my life where I was pursuing college, university, whatever you want to call it, to become an orthodontist, essentially a doctor for the teeth. Okay, an orthodontist in specific is somebody that specializes in the movement of the teeth and the jaw, essentially like braces, right? You know, the guy that you go to fix your teeth. And why did I do this? Obviously for the money. Doctors make great money. But then on top of that, it's for the honor of the family, right? The proudness that you're able to give to your family. And then they can say, oh yeah, I have a doctor son. My son's an orthodontist. And they can brag to everybody, right? And so this still to this day is something I think about consistently because I talk to a lot of young dudes, and I think every young man, like I said, goes through this where you have to really question, what do you want out of life? And I think a lot of young dudes make decisions, bro, based off of their families, based off of their parents, based off of somebody else's life, when again you need to be a little selfish to be selfless. And like I was saying, this is something I've thought about continuously to this day, but I want to give you guys the thought process. So what happened to me ultimately is I ended up dropping out of college 3 semesters in. So I was 1 semester away from getting my associate's degree, which is first 2 years of college. And what does that come with? Essentially dishonoring your family, right? Because now what I've gone from is potentially having this honor and making my family proud to get this degree, to have this certain level of achievement, to completely disregarding it. And my family reminds me of it all the time to this day. And I don't really think that's ever going to go away. It doesn't matter how much money you make. And I think this is why this is such a difficult decision for most men to make on, like, dude, what do I do? Do I make my family proud, but then have a life full of regret that I didn't chase my dreams and I lived my whole life for my parents to become a doctor? And now I do something for a living that I really don't even like to do, and I'm consistently thinking about the life I could have lived? That's exactly what it was for me. It's like just the options didn't make sense. For me, it didn't make sense to live a life full of regret, live a life full of like, bro, I could have all of this money and everything else that I really want 10 times faster, and more so living a life that I would actually enjoy, where I don't have to show up to this office every day no matter how much money I'm going to make, right? So orthodontists in specific on the minimum make a couple $100,000 a year. And that's, you know, most would say that's a lot of money. But the more you get into the business, the more you level up, you realize that ain't shit, right? But then on top of that, it's like, no matter the money, even if I made $1 million a year as an orthodontist, I'm still gonna have to wake up every single day and go to this office and work, right? Essentially still have a boss. And then, you know, there's obviously still the thought of, okay, but then you make that money for a little, you can then invest and then, you know, live a life and all these things that you wouldn't have to do that essentially forever. But the thing is, how long does it take to go through becoming an orthodontist, right? In specific, an orthodontist, it's 4 years to get your bachelor's degree, it's 4 years of graduate school, which is dental school, and then it's another 2 years to specialize. It's 10 years. By that time, I'm already 28, 29, 30. And then, you know, in short, what I'm getting at is just like, dude, you guys have heard this. It's 10 times better to have money when you're young than it is to have money when you're old. And so it's like, dude, why would I even like just take that route if I don't even, I always say, don't climb the mountain you're not gonna like, you're not gonna like the view of. And so I just knew that I don't wanna go that route. It's not what I wanna do. I don't care, and this might sound selfish, and it probably is, but I don't care what kind of fucking honor I give to my family if it means that I'm gonna have to go and regret my whole life. Even in a way, you're doing everything for your family, right? And so, uh, again, it was all of these things combining where it was like, I then started to question, okay, why is it that my family wants this level of honor, wants this level of accomplishment for me? Is it because then they can tell other family members and other people, oh yeah, my son's a doctor, and then you realize in that it's like, oh, it's not even essentially for us, and maybe it is, maybe your family doesn't care about what other people think, but to an extent they do, right? And then on top of that, it's like my family values, and I think every family values this. I don't think it doesn't really matter what culture you come from. You can say some cultures it's more so than others. My family's culture is Yugoslavian and Slavic, so of course they care heavily about having an education, but it's like they care so much about this piece of paper, even my high school diploma, and I tell them to this day, it's like, yeah, but what does that piece of paper actually do for you? Especially nowadays, right? And all I'm getting is I realized maybe the reason my family cares so much about me becoming a doctor, number one, isn't really even for us. It's for the perception people will have of us. So it's not even really for us. And then number two, it's like my family's just so caught in the matrix, right, in the system themselves, that they've put this huge amount of significance on this fucking piece of paper, which is the diploma. And it was just all of these things coming together. Was I like, no, bro, this is not what I want to do. If it's gonna take me 10 years to become an orthodontist and be broke for those 10 years and put myself in on a minimum like $400,000 in debt becoming an orthodontist, imagine what I could do with $400,000 in debt and 10 years in living and experiencing actual business in the real world. Like, that's literally how I thought about it. That was the first thing that came to mind. It was like, if I put 10 years into business, where would I be? Okay, so it's 0 to 10 years orthodontist or 0 to 10 years in business. It's like, dude, if I put 10 years in a business, I'm gonna build like a multi-fucking billion-dollar company. And this was what I was thinking back then, right? And all these things. It's like, and then I'm gonna have all this freedom. I'm gonna be working for myself. And again, it was just all of these things coming to me where I was like, okay, I understand the honor part of things, and I am letting my family down in a sense. But it's like, does the honor really go away when you build a multi-million-dollar company and you retire your parents, you tell them they no longer have to work? Does the honor really go away when now they meet people and they say, oh yeah, hey, my son is my son is a young, self-made multimillionaire. He runs multiple companies, all from the ground up. He built everything. Is there honor in that? Like that's literally the way I was thinking about it. I was like, it's either they're gonna say that to somebody, or yeah, my son's an orthodontist, a doctor. Oh wow. But like, then I mean, you know this, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. You guys know this. But then it's again what my family thinks, and then maybe, like I was saying, it's not really what everybody thinks, but to an extent it always is what everybody else thinks, because it's how most people live. And maybe it is for self-accomplishment in the family, but there's just different priorities. And I always said we grow up in different times, at different points in time where, dude, you know, I literally always said, problems your parents try to solve can take hours. As to us, you give us a phone, we'll figure it out in a couple minutes, in less than a minute. We have tools, we have resources now that if your parents are even educated, that they wouldn't even be able to fathom if they had this back in their day, because they didn't. And so they have no clue what it's really like. And things have changed. The world is always changing. I say the world is moving. You have to be able to move with it. You guys know, people say this all over the internet. Money loves speed. If you're going slow, you're getting left behind, bro. And personally, I think the education system is one of the left behind things in this world to this date. It's slow. It hasn't evolved with the world. It's built from the system. We know the system isn't made in our advantage. It's built to keep us as employees and all these things. And again, these are just more reasons as to why I figured I don't care necessarily. I do care about my family's honor, but I don't care like that because that actually brings no significance to my life and to my future family that I'm going to build for myself, and me being able to retire my family, and they don't know that I'm doing this for them, and they don't know that this is going to benefit them more than it would if I did go to school and all these things. So boys, hopefully you took some knowledge from this. Hopefully you took something valuable from this video and understanding. I think, boys, the camera died, came to charge it. All I was saying is nothing outweighed the mere fact of me living a life full of regret, me living a life where I wasn't even able to try and tap into my full potential, where I basically would just go through the system and dedicate the next 10 years of my life to becoming a fucking orthodontist, and it didn't make sense to me. And so that's why I didn't do it. And then I saw so much more potential with me just putting my time, my focus, and my energy into business. And I realized how as a young man, you have everything in your hands to achieve anything. And so I was like, nothing's stopping me. Nothing, there is no difference between me and the next man. If he can do it, I can do it. And so nearly just understanding that I can do it was like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking try it. I got nothing to lose. And then on top of that, you know how they always say, bro, like you can always go back to school. You can always, like school is always gonna be there. And so it was like, oh, if I fail, I mean, fuck it, I can always go back. Like I'll figure out, I always figure out a way to make something work, right? But that wasn't even necessarily a thought, because as soon as you have a plan B, you've already like opted out in a sense, right? And I always say this on my channel, you have to learn to just go all in. So boys, again, hopefully you took something valuable. Gentlemen, if you do want to change your life, you do want to work with me one-to-one and basically 360 everything for yourself within the next 6 months of time, I want you to click the first link in the description. I have a little video that goes over how the fuck to build your own personal brand, become an icon, get your mind and your body straight, and literally just transform and change the entire trajectory of your life, bro. Like I did for myself. Literally the moment I committed to this shit and to the mere fact of like, all right, if I'm not gonna go this way, I gotta go all fucking full-fledged on this path, is the day everything changed for me, bro. You guys can go to my Instagram, go to my highlighted stories, check out my 90-day blitz 4.5, 5 years ago at this point, and just see like the first day of me officially changing my life, bro, and taking the gym seriously. You can see I had like a full-on beard and different hair and everything. I'm literally just speaking through my experiences, boys, and hopefully in that process you guys learn something. But again, if you want to work with me directly, change your fucking life within the next 6 months, build your online business, make a fuck ton of money, get your mind and body straight, you can click to book a call with me or my team. It's the first link in the description. As always, boys, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.